All righty, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's episode of Roundabout Sports, presented by Filthy Games Room, located at 3479 Newtown Boulevard in St. Charles, Missouri, and by Interstate 70 Sports Media, where our passion is our profession. Thank you so much, folks. It is a cold Wednesday, October 16th, 2024. I'm the Maestro Jeremy Carp, alongside, as always, the lovely Babs. Babs, welcome back.
Hi, how are you guys? How are you, Jeremy?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing this week?
I am doing fantastic. I'm sorry I'm on mobile this week. I am doing a little bit of changing around in my setup room here. I've got a new computer going, so I just haven't got a camera set up yet, but we'll make do tonight.
That is A-okay. We got a lot to cover, but first, before we do, get the usual plugs out of the way, folks. Roundabout Sports is on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Pocket Cast, and anywhere else where you can stream a podcast. Also, be sure to follow Interstate 70 Sports Media on Facebook and X and on our YouTube channel. Also, be sure to follow Roundabout Sports on Facebook as well. Also, it's a special occasion because this is, I mean, it's episode 107, so in that regard, there's nothing special about it. But the reason behind this, we have a new logo that Babs herself designed. And you might have briefly seen it during the intro, but this is our chance to really introduce it to everybody here. And I'm extremely excited to do so. So, without further ado, here is the brand new logo for Roundabout Sports.
Yay!
I wish I had an applause emoji or something, or a applause sound effect ready, but that is our brand new logo. I love it. Roundabout Sports with Babs and the Maestro. And I think what I love most about it is the fact you got the St. Louis skyline at the bottom and then the Kansas City skyline on top, and they're kind of like radio waves. That I always got such a big kick out of. But yes, that is our new logo, and job well done.
Thank
It's
you.
absolutely fantastic. And yes, folks, it is our new background already, so we are set there, and it'll be revealed on all the socials later on. So, but with that being said, some lot to talk about in the sports world right now. The biggest thing going on probably is the fact that we are.
Well, can I interrupt you for a second, Jeremy? Can I
Go
just say
ahead.
something really quick? I
Yeah.
know this isn't sports related, but I am very sad about Liam from One Direction that passed away today. I am
Yes.
very, very sad about that. And I just want to wish his family and, all of the One Directioners that are out there, I just want to say sorry for your loss, and that is really, really sad. So
Yeah,
that's our little thing. So
it was a very shocking passing, to say the least. But just 31 years old. They're still gonna, yeah, definitely
And I think
shocked
they
me.
were actually planning a One Direction like reunion tour next year, which is really sad if you think about it.
Yeah, and he was in Argentina. For those that don't know, Liam Payne was pronounced dead. He had fallen from his balcony at his hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of investigation going on about all that, but he was in town to see one of his old bandmates.
I didn't
So
mean to start the show off on a somber note, but I did want to just mention it. And
yeah, no, I get it. There's a lot of things we got to mention, so you're a-okay, and hopefully some of the things we mention are a lot more brighter than
yes,
those unfortunate news. Want to start by some more sad news. The New York Yankees are up 2-0 in the ALCS on the Cleveland Guardians. I know
mm-hmm.
that is a very, very heart punch right there. A gut wrenching feeling is seeing the Yankees just 2 games away from the World Series, because the last thing I need is to see the Yankees in the World Series
And win.
and win. Yeah,
And win. That's the thing. And you
it's
know they will
funny.
for spite.
Well, it's funny because they have less, or they have like they've had a longer World Series drought than the Cardinals have. They haven't won
Hmm.
9. Um, Also, another sad note: the Dodgers are in the NLCS. I don't need to see them. I'm not gonna lie. The Guardians might be the only team I like in this whole thing. There's players on. I want to see them. You know what? Screw it. Give me either Cleveland or the Mets, or Cleveland or LA. I just don't want the Yankees in it. I have no reason to see the Yankees in a World Series. And we already have seen the Mets and the Yankees face off in the series before. Um, so
Will
we
this be Aaron Judge's first World Series or
if
no?
they make it, it'll be Aaron Judge's first World Series. The Yankees have constantly made the playoffs, but what happens is the Astros kick their ass and eliminate them. But they
Okay,
can't
I
do it
just
this
wondered.
time. Yeah, they can't do that this time. So, um, no, right now we got the ALCS, which is of course Cleveland versus the New York Yankees. Now, game one, Yankees won 5-2. Game two, Yankees won 6-3. Um, Game three is tomorrow at random time at 4:08 p.m. In Cleveland. Game four will be Friday at 7:08 p.m. in Cleveland. That might be all we have if the Yankees go for a clean sweep. Um, but basically, the format: first two games in New York, the next three in Cleveland, and if there is a game six and game seven, it would be in New York. So, and
That's all I've
it's
got is just a long sigh.
yeah. As far as the NLCS is concerned, um, I mean, right now, look, the Dodgers had a huge win in Game One, and we thought the best team with the best record in baseball was just gonna slide right by the Mets. Yeah, no. I'm telling you right now, I want Cleveland and the Mets. Why? Because Guardians, low payroll, underdogs. I want to see it. And why do I want the Mets? Because they have fought hard all year long. They have defied the odds to get to this point. Um, and our dear friend the Night Owl, there he is himself joining us. Folks, be sure to send your comments, questions, whatever it may be, to Babs and myself here on any of the streaming platforms you're able to send a comment on, and we will do our best to get them on air. That said, back to the NLCS. The Mets won 7-3 in Game 2 at Dodger Stadium, and now, once again, they're going to Citi Field for 3 games. And it's huge because they could win the series. If somehow they win 3 straight and win the series at Citi Field, I mean, the
I would love
Dodgers.
that. And I would love that for Bader too, because Bader deserves to be on a winning team and see something and maybe get a World Series ring too.
Yeah, because we ain't going to see that around here for a while. I'll tell you that much right
I
now.
mean, you know,
Um, so, but yes, world. So right now we got the latest World Series. Um, I guess World Series updated bracket predictions. So right now, I believe it looks like that the Dodger, according to Bleacher Report, they have the Yankees winning in 5 games against Cleveland, and they have the Dodgers beating the Mets in 7 games. Um, I will say I kind of get what they're coming from with the Mets or the Dodgers. It took till game 161 for the Mets to even make the playoffs. Um,
well,
they
do they have Kershaw starting at any point? Because we know how Kershaw is in the playoffs as well. So that's
I would
also a
love.
good question.
Yes, that is another question right there. I do know Kershaw has announced he is coming back next season. So he is coming back for his 18th MLB season. Now, I got a lot of respect for that because I'm a fan of always the veteran guys, the old guys when it comes to sports. So I'll take it.
Right.
But as far as this World Series thing, then we get to the World Series prediction. Oh God, I hate this already. They predict the Yankees beat the Dodgers in 6 games.
At least it's not a sweep. I mean, I'll take at least 5 games. I'll take
Uh,
5 games.
I
If
know.
if it's a sweep, though,
Can barely
it'll
take
be
one
different.
game. Can barely take one game of that series. This is unbelievable. I can't do it.
Well, we
I
can
need
always wish that they don't
Cleveland
get
to come
there.
back, and I need the Mets to win. That's all I'm saying. And I'll be honest. My interest in baseball has faded over the past few weeks, just in the sense of, the Royals losing didn't help. The Yankees, of course, the ones that beat them. So that didn't help. And seeing how they're already up on Cleveland, I don't know. And plus, football season's in full swing, which once again I don't know why I enjoy because I'm a glutton for punishment. All the teams I cheer for are losing, so and so
Sounds like
except
Mason.
yeah,
He's
except
a
for Mizzou. I will say Mizzou. Okay, I gotta say this, folks, about Mizzou. Um, you know, they had an embarrassing loss to Texas A&M, 41-10, back on the 5th. Well, just 4 days ago, they go to the University of Massachusetts and they kick the University of Mass's ass. 45-3.
ooh.
Now, now look, I get it. Once again, it comes back to what we had talked about last week. UMass, an unranked team, not exactly one of the top schools that you need to beat. But you're supposed to just beat who's on the schedule. And that's what they did. They took it to them. The team looked pretty good. Um, so now Mizzou has the tough test ahead this Saturday and next weekend. Because this Saturday, they got Auburn.
Ooh.
After that, and that's in Como. After that, next week, the 26th, which is my cousin's wedding, yay. After that, they go to Tuscaloosa and play number 7 Alabama. Look, I'm telling you, you want to be the powerhouse of the SEC? Nick Saban may be gone. The team may not be the same, but you still got to go through and beat Bama. You have to beat Bama. Guess what? You know who should have and didn't? You know who didn't? Georgia. And Georgia was supposed to beat Bama. Oh, Todd, a good friend of mine as well. Todd, thank you so much for being on, tuning in. Always a great pleasure. Also, I hope everybody who is down in Florida right now and along the coast are staying safe and recovering well after Hurricane Milton and Hurricane Helene wreaked absolute havoc. I remember, I believe it was last week that I had put on the show the image of the stadium in Tampa Bay,
Oh,
Tropicana Field,
Tropicana. Yeah, I saw that.
and I
I
have to
actually saw
remember.
that live.
I don't remember if I had put it on there. I will say, yeah, it was definitely rough to see, to say the least.
Yeah, and apparently,
Um,
from what I'm hearing, it probably won't be available until, like, I think they said midsummer next year because of all the water damage and stuff that's in it. If it's ever
yes,
repairable at all, actually, because who knows what else is wrong with it now.
yeah, definitely. Um, it's a rough sight to see, and then that creates the rumors of where the Tampa Bay Rays will be playing. All of a sudden, what the hell? What in the? Okay, well that was weird. Anyway, so
I
we're
did
gonna
not
keep
do
going
that.
now.
Uh,
Um, Point being that you take a look at Tampa Bay at the Rays, and Tropicana Field's already been considered the worst stadium in baseball. They do already have a plan in place for by opening day 2028, they will have a new stadium all built and ready to roll.
hmm.
Um, so yes, for those that are hoping the Rays move, they're not moving. A hurricane won't. If sucking for 25 years doesn't keep them from moving, a hurricane won't keep them from moving.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now we're gonna switch gears now a bit, but to keep the stadium talk going at the same time. The NFL has announced the latest stadium host sites for the Super Bowls. Okay, so I do know that they announced for 2025 through 2028, Super Bowl 20 in 2025, which is LIX, which I believe is 59. Because I think LX is 60 if I got my Roman numerals. The fact that I'm pretty sure that's it. But anyway, point being, it will be hosted at the Louisiana Superdome next year, Super Bowl 59. Will be in New Orleans, home of the Saints. Super Bowl 60 will be held in Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California, home of the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, okay.
Super Bowl 61 in February 14th, 2027. This was expected beyond a shadow of a doubt at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, home of the Los Angeles Chargers and Los Angeles Rams. But just announced yesterday, the site of Super Bowl 62, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, home of the Falcons, will be hosting Super Bowl 62. Overall, look, these are fantastic stadiums. We can blame Jerry Jones all we want for being a greedy asshole, for playing a big part in ruining football in St. Louis with the Rams, and all of the poor decisions he's made. But when it comes to setting the bar for, I don't even want to say luxury, but when it comes to setting the bar for elite, he knows what he's doing. These stadiums would not be possible without Jerry World. I mean, that's all there is to it. And people can hate on it all they want, which is fine. But AT&T Field or AT&T Stadium, whatever you want to call it, down in Texas, we call it Jerry World. Let's face it, it can host over 100,000 people. That is more than the entire population of the city I live in. And probably the city next to me combined, you know?
And actually, I think they had the WrestleMania there the first year that it was open, so it can hold up to at least 140,000. Easy.
Yes. And it is a sight to behold.
I also had a really
Speaking
quick question about that. Have they ever had a Super Bowl in a town that doesn't have football?
a Super Bowl in a town that doesn't have football.
Yeah, like
Um,
a town that has a stadium that's a really big stadium, but they don't have football there.
I do not believe so, but that is an interesting one. Eddie's tuning in. Oh God, it's always a great week when Eddie's tuning in. Thank you so much.
Hi, Eddie.
Um, so when you ask about that, it's interesting because I really don't. I know the first Super Bowl was hosted at the Memorial Coliseum out in LA, but I don't recall any time when there was, because I think most cases people will say, well, if you got a big stadium, you got to have a reason for it. You
Well, see,
know,
my theory is I think it would be kind of cool to see them go to a city that doesn't have football just to see if they could have a market for it. Because I think it would be a great way to Why not? It's kind of like their WrestleMania. They could give their best people out and market themselves, and I think it would be awesome to do for them. But that's just my opinion, though.
Well, let's look at, and this is in no particular order. In a way, I mean, Pontiac, Michigan, it was hosted in the Silverdome before, but once again, Silverdome hosted the Lions.
Right.
So it's been held in Houston 3 times, Atlanta 3 times, the Detroit area twice, Indianapolis, Jacksonville. Okay, well, last year, Paradise, Nevada at Allegiant Stadium.
Oh, okay.
Here's a funny one. The LA area has hosted 8 Super Bowls. Miami hosting 8 Super Bowls. Oh, I'm sorry. Miami actually hosted 11 Super Bowls. I get, you know what? Okay, this is kind of a one that we might say, because New Orleans has hosted 10. But here, one of them, the first one was at, or the first 3 of them were at Tulane Stadium, of
Oh,
the,
okay.
of the Tulane Green Wave. So, but going through all these, yeah, I don't see any instance of where they had it where there wasn't a Super Bowl, or where there was not a football team already there.
Well, the reason why I ask, and I know this is like a really big shot in the dark and maybe shooting fish in a barrel, so to speak, but what about St. Louis getting like something like that, a Super Bowl, maybe like I'm sorry for taking the Rams and sorry for the hoopla that came with it. I know that will never happen, and I know that it's just a pipe dream down a long, long tube, but I'm just saying that it would be kind of cool to have something like that here.
I mean, when you look at it as far as a perspective of hosting a Super Bowl in St. Louis, we got the UFL championship game, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
But this is the thing, and look, people are going to say what they want. They are not going to host it in that dome. Unless that dome
That's
gets
very true.
unless that dome gets seriously upgraded, they're not hosting. I've said this before on past shows. They would host WrestleMania at Busch Stadium before they would host a WrestleMania at the Dome.
Oh, yeah, very much so.
Like, you are not going to host the Super Bowl there because, look, it's home for me for the sake of it, the Rams and everything and the Battlehawks. I love the stadium. But at the same time, it sat dormant for many years without getting upgraded.
Well, that and the
It just
ceiling
now got new
itself is
turf.
falling down. Yeah.
Right, and there's another good point. The ceiling itself is literally falling down. So, I mean, are you really gonna be like, yeah, let's have the biggest sporting event, basically, that we could possibly have in the world at this stadium? Yeah, I don't know about all that. Also,
it's like I said, I know it's a pipe dream and I know it's down a very long tube, but what is the city doing with the Rams money that they got? Has it all been spent already?
no, it has not been. So the St. Louis Rams money. Hang on one second. Okay, I did have to pull this up. It's the result of that lawsuit, and it's crazy because they held a public survey. The city held a public survey a while back about how to spend the remaining money, because 280 of it goes to St. Louis City. 30 million does go to the Dome. 169 million goes to the county of St. Louis. And then 70 million goes to the St. Louis Regional Convention and Sports Authority. Now, the remainder amount of money, there was a public vote as to where it should be put to use. 9% said water main fixing, 8% said redesigning of streets, and Increase pay for city workers was 8%. Now, as of now, um, 63.4 million has been spent on street improvements. 16.9% or 16 no, I'm sorry. 63.4 million has been spent on street improvements. 16.9 million has been spent on community violence intervention programs. And 30.8 million have been spent on small businesses and nonprofit grants in North St. Louis.
At least it's going places that it's needed instead of going on meaningless stuff. You know what I mean?
Right, and the St. Louis like government website has made it clear as far as what to do with this money. And it's a very important thing for them to have.
Did you say 13 or 30 million to the stadium?
30.
30. Okay. Yeah, because I
Will
mean
be
that
put.
at least that'll maybe give them some upgradable for like maybe a roof that doesn't collapse on people when they're there to watch the Battle Hawks,
Well,
or maybe a sound
they got
system
the
or
new
something.
turf. They got the new turf. They
Yes,
need it. They do need a new sound system, and yes, fix the damn roof already. Good lord.
exactly.
The
Because
damn roof.
I,
And I'm sorry, but I love the dome, but it is depressing.
but
It is
listen,
depressing.
it looks like the Tropicana Stadium right now. That's what it looks like inside the dome at all times. Now, I mean, you know that I'm right. You know that I'm right.
I walk in there. Look, at least the dome has a roof, but I walk in there, and I mean, it is just so. What's not even dull,
It
because
just
when I go
needs
there, it's for
something.
Battlehawks games. It needs life. It needs
Lighting.
vibrancy.
Lighting, yes, that would be great.
Let
Some
there be
lighting or
light.
something.
And
Yes.
on Saturday, the football god said, "Let there be light."
Yes.
That's what they
I
need at
totally
the dome.
agree.
Because I'm sorry, there isn't much light in that damn building.
Well, I mean, there
Um,
is, but it's nothing like
no, it's not.
exciting to look at. It's just the plain white screw-in lights at the top. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. And look, it was feasible when you were rooting for a 3-13 NFL team
Right.
back in '07, but here in 2024, when you're cheering on a team that's actually perennial contender in a football league, the least you could do is upgrade the damn stadium. It's the least you could
Exactly. Because there
do.
it's
And
not just that, like sports don't just go there. We have like concerts and stuff that go there too.
yes, concerts are a big thing. They have monster truck events, a bunch of other sporting events, all kinds of things that happened at the Dome. I will say, this is the weird random fact of the day. I feel like I always have one of these every week. But I actually played a football game. I was on that Dome field twice, as far as I remember. I was there because my high school football team and we played a game against Wentzville Holt at the Dome. And we actually won that game. And then they had the Legends of the Dome game a few years later, and I was part of Arch City Sports at the time, and I got on the field for that. That was a really fun time. Look
That's
at picture.
awesome.
I look at pictures of that and I say, Jesus, how was it that long ago?
Well, gosh, I think
And
the last time I was at a Battlehawks game was 2020 before COVID.
my friends and I got season ticket. You got it. The Battlehawks. Now they're playing San Antonio, I think twice at home. Let me, folks. Thank you so much for being patient, folks. Let me double check if the scheduling. Yeah, so they got San Antonio twice at home this season. So, um, and while Babs gets something checked out quickly, folks, it is time to talk about our dear friends at Filthy Games Room. Okay, I have to say, a lot of good friends there. Filthy Games Room is located at 3479 Newtown Boulevard in St. Charles, Missouri, off 370. And let me tell you right now, it has the largest selection of video games, retro and modern, in the St. Louis metropolitan area, with video systems and games ranging back from the days of the Magnavox Odyssey. Let's see how many of you all remember the Odyssey days. To the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and Nintendo Switch of today. You can also be a part of their patron program to get 10% off games and systems, and great deals on shipping, and be entered in monthly giveaways that they give off rare items. Also, there are a bunch of free-to-play arcade machines in the front of the store. Definitely highly recommend checking them out. See if you can beat me in Millipede. Always a fun time to play that. So that is Filthy Games Room at 3479 Newtown Boulevard in St. Charles, Missouri. That being said, what the heck? Oh my God, what is this doing back here? All right, folks, if you're wondering what the Tiger's doing, it is Halloween season. We will have one more episode before Halloween officially. Actually, we'll have two more episodes before Halloween officially hits. We got
Yes, we
the
will.
23rd and the 30th. So I'm sure that Tiger is going to be rearing its ugly head around here. But for those just tuning in at the half-hour mark, thank you so much. I'm the Maestro, Jeremy Carr. This is Roundabout Sports with Babs and the Maestro. And earlier, for those that did not get a chance to see it yet, Babs made us a new logo.
Yay!
So we have a brand new logo for Roundabout Sports. I know half our faces are cut off, but that kind of makes it fun too. So, and yes, you will see that change effective immediately on all the social media pages. And so
I apologize for going away. I forgot that I was on my phone and I pressed my button and everything went away. I'm so sorry.
That's
I
what they
know.
all
I'm
say.
so sorry, guys.
Okay. Well, that being said, we got some live updates right now, I believe, from New York, where the series is tied 2-1. The Dodgers have 2 on with 1 out in a scoreless game, game 3 of the NLCS. Meanwhile, there's something I want to talk about as far as St. Louis Cardinals. We haven't really talked about the Cardinals yet, but there are 3 players that I want to talk about that very well could be that are going to be a part of this Cardinals future.
Excuse me, guys.
And Babs, I definitely want to have your thoughts on these guys as well as I bring them up. The first person I have is Michael McGreevy. 24 years old. He had an amazing end of his season this year in the majors. He was the number 18 pick in the 2021 MLB draft. He has a great cutter and a sinker. And what it looks like is next year he seems to be in the rotation for the Cardinals, given the future is in limbo of the rest of the starters. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I figured that if McCreevy does really good for us, that maybe he become a part of the rotation, because most of our rotation is not even set in stone. I think we literally only have 2 people coming back next year, 3 maybe.
Yes,
because Matt's will not be. Because I don't think Matt's will be back, and he's injured right now. I think, or probably, and I think we have Michaelis and maybe Palante.
Yeah, and like I said, we don't know about Lynn or Gibson. Palante might be in there. Libator might be in there. We don't know. We're shifting around these guys, you know?
Yeah, and it's like I said, I think a couple of weeks ago on the show, that these young pitchers, they need to either stay up here or stay down in Memphis until they're ready. Because you have situations like, with Reyes and then Carlos, where they were getting switched so back and forth that they couldn't get comfortable, I said, so to speak. And I just don't want to see that happen to maybe a young guy that could be possibly our new ace. later on down the road because of it. So I just hope they're very careful with that, because the Cardinals here the last couple of seasons, not just with pitching, but with everybody, has been like that too. Not mentioning Jordan Walker, but I'm just going to throw that out there that they do need to kind of watch that, because it could ruin, or not ruin, but it could definitely set someone back if they're not ready. And then especially if they go up to the MLB and they're not ready and their confidence is ruined because of that. So I think,
Right.
yeah.
The second person I have on this, Quinn Matthews, a left-handed pitcher. Um, he's probably one of the fastest, if not the fastest, rising prospect the Cardinals have. Now
How
let
old
me.
is he?
He is 23 years old. He is 6'5".
Oh my
In his
gosh.
in Palm Beach to start the season, he opened up going 3-1 with a 1.47 ERA. He had struck out 58 batters in 4 starts and just walked 9. And when he moved up to Springfield, he started at 1-1 with a 3.11 ERA in 7 starts. I mean, so to put it at this point, as of the date of August 14th, he had at the time struck out 157 batters and walked 34.
Wow.
That is the type of thing we need more of.
Yes, we do.
There is too much. Look, you need to balance your rotation with innings eaters and guys that will just straight up kick your ass and dominate. We don't even know the future of Sonny Gray for the Cardinals, and we've had him for 1 season.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So I don't know about you, but I think Quinn Matthews, I don't know if he'll make his debut next year with the Cardinals, but just the thought of somebody like that already being that dominant at just 23 years old is a huge positive.
Yes, it is. And you have to look at it this way. He's coming up with the newest people that are going to be in the MLB too. So you're going to have to think he's going to be seeing the same faces. So if he's carrying those numbers with those faces down there, just think of what he could do if he were up here sometime.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And the number one person that I've been thinking of, it's interesting because it's not like we've not seen him play. I'm talking about Victor Scott here.
Oh, okay.
You've seen Victor Scott, and I give him credit. The guy went up and down in the minors and the majors about 3 or 4 different times. I give him credit for still fighting. He made the opening day roster after Tommy Edman, Lars Nootbaar, and Dylan Carlson all got hurt. He had never spent a day at AAA. He went from Springfield right up to the majors. Then he went set down. And guess who was his hitting instructor that helped him find his swing? This is an interesting one. Ryan Ludwig.
Oh, wow.
Former
That's a
Cardinal
name I
Ryan
haven't heard
Ludwig.
in forever.
Now, Eddie had asked earlier in the show, he said, any news on the Cardinals hitting coach or spot? Because Turner Ward is no longer the Cardinals hitting coach. While nothing is confirmed, and I'm not going to say it's confirmed because it's not confirmed, I will say there has been talk of Ryan Ludwig potentially being promoted to become the new hitting coach for the Cardinals.
That would be awesome.
The Cardinals, from what I've heard, are definitely wanting to go internal, looking for somebody. I know
As they always do.
Yeah, well, it's funny because you know what? People are gonna think I'm stupid for this, and that's fine. I'm stupid about most things.
Me too.
They
It's
say
okay.
They say that Jim Edmonds would be the next hitting coach of the Cardinals.
They're just
And
trying to get him out of the commentary booth. That's all they want to do.
that's the only reason they want Jim Edmonds to be the new hitting coach, is so he can get
Yes.
out of the broadcast booth. But the reality of it is, we all know Jim Edmonds, he might be a spring training guy. He'll come down there and help. And look, I'm going to tell you right now, Jim Edmonds had one of the most beautiful swings I ever saw in a ball player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he can't teach me how to call a ball game, but he can damn sure teach me how to hit a ball.
Mm-hmm.
But if Ryan Ludwig's already been in that position, why not give him the shot? The guys that are being called up are the ones that already learned from him. So it's kind of like that seamless transition.
I miss Mark McGuire. We were actually hitting when he was around. I'm just saying. And I mean that with the kindness of my heart, but we were.
I was going to say, I mean, I get it. And Ryan Ludwig is no slouch. Former All-Star, 154 home runs in his career. You know, played 13 years in the majors. So, and I like, you know, John Poe, our dear friend John, saying, I hope Ludwig becomes hitting coach, or at least an assistant hitting coach.
I agree, John. And it's nice to see you, John.
Yes. And it would be a welcome addition. I kind of liken it to Randy Flores in his position with the Cardinals when it comes to scouting, and being the assistant general manager. You know,
oh, is that what he is now? Did they? Is that kind of a promotion for him?
So Randy Flores is the assistant general manager and the director of scouting. That's his official.
Now that Gersh is gone, I'm assuming. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I must have missed that part.
And it's nice because, look, people are going to be like, Randy Flores. See, they expect these big name guys. Look, I get it. I would love this team to be managed by Yadier Molina and have Albert be the hitting coach and things like that. But
never happened, though.
But sometimes you just got to go with a route that, look, you can know the game of baseball without being one of the greatest in baseball.
Exactly. Look at Schill. Schill really didn't have a really fantastic playing career, but look at how he is as a manager. It's amazing.
Mike Schill is probably going to win Manager of the Year this year for the National League.
As he should. And then if the Padres fire him after it, they. Oh wait, that's just us. I forgot.
I was gonna say, what team would ever fire a manager or coach after winning Manager of the Year?
Right.
I don't know, but that pitiful team, I'll tell you if they did.
I still think he won Manager of the Year because of that pep talk he gave the boys in the locker room. I'm just saying.
That was a top tier pep talk.
It was. I wish everybody would give pep talks like that. That's so great.
It is. And when I look at the Cardinals and where they're at, you know, Turner Ward was not breathing life into this offense. If I am, you know, Chaim Bloom, if I'm John Mozeliak, if I'm Ollie, if I'm the DeWitts, you work together, find a hitting coach. People don't realize a hitting coach is just as important as the manager. You need that, you know, because guess what? It's just like a pitching coach. You do not have the success Tony La Russa did without Dave Duncan being his pitching coach. You know, like you needed both. Like it's a pair thing.
Well, see, my thing about that is that, well, it's like I've said a couple of times on the show in the past. This season and last season, it just felt like the boys were showing up to work at a 9-to-5 job and just clocking in, doing their job and going home. They weren't doing anything extra. They weren't doing anything. They didn't seem inspired to want to be anything different. And I am so glad that the Cardinals are actually making management. What is the word I'm looking for? Management changes, because they've had zero life and the fans haven't had life either because of it. So it's just it'll
Right.
be really nice to see a change in that. And yes, it would be really nice to have Yachty and Pujols and everybody here together. But it's like you said, that probably won't happen. And it's nice to think about. But I really do love Randy Flores as our scouting agent. He's done a really good job with that.
Excuse me, and exactly. And I like the fact that, because to me, the Cardinals' problem isn't scouting talent. It's not even drafting talent because
It's
the Cardinal, it's developing the talent.
yes, player
It's the
development for sure.
player development is what's killing the Cardinals right now because they are not properly developing a lot of these players well enough. And, you know, and I'm sorry, the constant switch ups between the majors and the minors, I think, really has a negative effect on the team as well.
Oh yeah,
Um,
for sure.
so, no, I personally think, look, we're top tier when it comes to scouting, and when it comes to
Hmm.
drafting, we're top tier. I'm excited for JJ Weatherford to be a St. Louis Cardinal one day, and I'm excited to see his journey. But what we got to keep in mind is that up until that point, we still have a lot of reshuffling in this organization that's going to be going on. And
I still don't think we're done with the manager changes yet. I don't think we're done with that either. And I know that Ollie's got one more year, but he needs to go already.
it's okay. So this will be his fourth year, I believe.
Mm,
Because you got the wild card season, the 90 loss season, last season, and then you got the upcoming one. Um, and Eddie does have an interesting one. He says the Marlins actually fired Joe Girardi after he won the Manager of the Year back in 2006. And Jeffrey Loyer was the owner back then, who, yes, is basically one of the guys that ruined the Montreal Expos. Um, but yeah, I think for the Cardinals, just develop your talent. And look, if it takes 2 or 3 years for some of these guys that are in the minors to come up, so be it. I
exactly.
like you have to, if anything, you have to be ready for every year to have at least a couple guys come up. You know, we're not saying wait until Quinn Matthews is 32 to come up to the majors, but he doesn't need to be here at 23 if he's not fully ready. We're fine seeing him dominate in Springfield and Memphis at 23 years old.
Right.
Work your way up is what you have to do. There's too much talent in this organization to be in the position they're in. For crying out loud, look at how well the minor league teams have been doing, and then look at how piss poor the Cardinals have been doing.
Right. I miss the days where September call ups were a huge thing for the Cardinals because they used to have it where you would have at least one or two prospects come up. Like I think Oscar was one of them at one point, and I kind of miss those days because now you have people going back and forth so much it kind of loses the specialty of it. I guess that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah. And of course, and here's a God, I haven't heard from Michael Berry in a hot minute, but it's so great to have him tuning in with us here on Roundabout. I hope to hear from Michael real soon. Definitely. I can
Yeah,
tell
my
that you
boyfriend's watching too. So hi, babe.
of course, there you go. And my girlfriend just walked in the door, so
Hi,
hi.
babe.
Literally. So
Welcome home.
exactly. So moving on now, switch gears here on Roundabout Sports. Got to talk a little bit about the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh
They had a
yeah.
bye. They had a bye week this past week. But you know, it's interesting because even in bye weeks, there's always something happening. Now this upcoming Sunday, the Chiefs are going to have probably their biggest game of the season up to this point. Oh, it's definitely their biggest game of the season up to this point. What am I saying? Might be one of the biggest games of the season. They are having a Super Bowl rematch with the San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco.
Oh, and they're undefeated too, right?
The Chiefs are undefeated.
Yes.
Barely, but they are undefeated.
Hey, a win's a win.
Exactly. A win is a win. You can win by 50 or win by 2. A win is a win. They got an interesting stretch ahead where they got the 49ers, the Raiders, who just traded Devontae Adams, the Buccaneers, the Broncos, and then the Bills. There are some tough teams in that stretch. Mainly, and the thing of it is, the 49ers and the Bills are both road games for the Chiefs. They got the Bucs at home. But you're taking a look at this Kansas City Chiefs offense. Travis Kelce's finally hitting his stride. And of course, knowing my luck, it happens after I traded him away in fantasy. Juju Smith-Schuster comes back to the team. Isaiah Pacheco goes down with an injury. So they bring back Kareem Hunt. He starts doing a great job. Everybody thought that the Chiefs backfield, nobody thought Kareem Hunt was going to come back. They thought that Carson Steele was going to be the guy to take the reins. Then they thought Samaje Perine was going to take the reins. Neither of them have. Kareem Hunt comes in and says, let me show you how it was before I left. And he goes and just starts dominating. So one way or another, and I will say this. For as good as the Chiefs' offense is, it has been a down year for the offense. And that is where the defense of the Kansas City Chiefs has stepped up big time. And I will say, you take a look at all the rankings as far as defense go. Right now, the Chiefs are ranked 9th in the league with 305 yards allowed a game, and they've only allowed 10 touchdowns. I'm sorry, they've only allowed 9 touchdowns. They are on the bottom half when it comes to passing defense, but they are 5th in the league in rushing defense. They've only allowed 88 on average, 88 rushing yards a game. They have allowed only 2 rushing touchdowns all season long. So, I will give it to them on that. Now, I will say they also are in the top 5, almost in the top 5 in scoring defense, allowing only an average of 17 points a game. So, overall, Chiefs take care of most of their, they do their job pretty well. I'll say that much.
What's the odds for them to win and lose? What are the odds in Vegas for that? Do you know? Since sports betting is coming up on the ballot this November.
Now, is that are you talking for the Super Bowl or for this week's game?
Yeah, for this week's game. What's the over-under for that?
Oh, God. Okay, let's see. So, I'm trying to remember. I'll have to Chiefs 49ers odds. Okay, here we go. And yes, once again, the sports betting will be on the ballot in Missouri. And so basically right now, it looks like the over-under is 47.
Oh.
The spread is +1 for the Chiefs, -105. Basically, it looks as if and here's some interesting things. So the total has gone under in 8 of the Kansas City's last 12 games. And they're keeping an eye on a lot of the injuries that are going on. But right now, I mean, it is a pretty deadlocked matchup between these two teams. And they've provided 2 fantastic Super Bowls over the past 4 seasons. So I am looking forward to seeing this game on Sunday. The fact that this is, you know what's funny though? The fact this is not the primetime game um, is actually kind of funny to me, considering that this week we are going to have um, the Jets at the Steelers. And I'm sorry, but I don't give a damn. I don't need to see the Jets at the Steelers. Even with Devontae Adams now with the Jets are not good. And I hate the Steelers because I'm a Cleveland fan. I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, so I have to hate the Steelers. But they're also making the boneheaded. Okay, I want to say one thing about the Steelers. All right, I got to throw this out there. The Steelers have Justin Fields, who has done a
Right.
really good job this season at quarterback. He's 25 years old, filled in nicely for Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson comes back from injury, and they're like, oh, yep, you're going to be the starter. Man, that's a boneheaded move. Start the hot hand. Get out of here with that crap. I hate this. I hate it. I mean,
I
whatever
hate
helps
it
the
here.
Steelers lose is fine, but
Right.
Anyway, with all that being said, you also will have the Niners and Chiefs in that, so I'm excited for that. But Babs, before we wrap it up this evening, I'm going to hand the floor to you because I know there's a couple little quick tidbits you have just over how wrestling went in St. Louis
Oh,
a couple of weeks ago.
yeah. WWE was in town. I wasn't able to make it because I had to work a couple of days, but it was a nice time to catch up with some family that was here while they were here. And it was also the last or the first. I was wrong the last week. It wasn't the last 3 hour show. It was the first 2 hour show for the the changeover to Netflix in St. Louis. So the 2 hour Raw started this or last week in St.
Yep.
Louis, and that was fun. And everybody had a good time. And I guess the Florida guys that were here got stuck in St. Louis a few extra days because of the hurricane.
Yes, and I will admit though, I watched NXT on the CW network. Very entertaining. It was from the factory,
Yeah.
out in Chesterfield. People were wondering how it would. I mean, it was going to be at, I believe, at the Enterprise Center, but or was it the family? It was out there.
It was at Family Arena first, but then I don't think ticket sales did as well as they were
Family
hoping.
Arena, that's right.
Yes,
Okay.
and
It was
they
at the
were.
Family Arena, then they moved it to the
Yeah,
factory. And that's fine because you know what? I love those closed in
me too.
local
I
shows.
love studio wrestling type stuff.
Studio wrestling type shows are fantastic. I
Yes,
love it.
they are.
Ring of Honor was a prime example of that in the good old days. So
Well, some
um
of good old Grand Ole Wrestling too is some
is
good studio wrestling
Grand
as
All
well.
Wrestling is so absolutely. Well, folks, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in this week on Roundabout Sports. We are going to wrap it up this evening. As always, you can find Roundabout Sports on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Pocket Cast, and more. You can follow us on Facebook, on X, and on YouTube. Now, as always, at the end of every show, we put up the NAMI helpline. And for the NAMI helpline, it is 1-800-950-NAMI, 1-800-950-NAMI. The National Alliance on Mental Illness is the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization dedicating to building better lives for those who struggle with mental health issues and their families as well. And of course, we close by putting up the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. And for that, you dial 988. Line is open 24/7, 365, 366 on leap years. Understand you're never alone in this world, and there's always somebody out there who loves you and cares about you. And we all go through a lot in life, and none of our struggles and issues should have to be faced alone. You are just a phone call or a text message away. And you could also be the listening ears and watchful eyes for somebody else who's in need as well. Once again, I always want to thank Babs for being on. It's a new era here, folks. And I'm the Maestro, Jeremy Carp. And remember, life is a book full of empty pages just waiting to be written in. Make your lives worth reading. Good night, everybody, and we'll see you next week.